Ever wonder how an astronaut reacts as he goes up in the gantry and gets ready for blastoff? Let's follow these familiar spacemen and see.
How's it going, everyone? I hope everyone out there is doing well. Today we'll continue to talk about the scrapped Disney attractions and how they live on today. So put your seatbelts on because this one is pretty information dense. The Finding Nemo attraction is currently seated in Disneyland's Tomorrowland, and while we all know about the ride itself, let's go through some quick facts before discussing its history and, more importantly, its predecessor. Opening in 2003, Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage was the first major project for soon-to-be CEO Bob Iger. Aside from this, a few other movies were also considered to fill the space, which had remained vacant since 1998. Some of these included Treasure Planet, Atlantis, and The Little Mermaid. In all honesty, I loved the underperforming Treasure Planet movie and think it would have been a great fit. But I guess box office decided otherwise. Anyway, putting it simply, projection technology caught up with the computer animation of the time, and Nemo was given the green light. Now let's discuss his predecessor. 1959, a time when stories of steampunk realities and sea monsters were popular. Disney decided to capitalize on their recent adaptation of the Jules Verne novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, creating an attraction that would take guests on the famous Nautilus directly into an encounter with a giant squid. With the likes of Bob Gurr and George McGinnis on board, it was bound to be an absolute hit. After acquiring several military-grade submarines and thoroughly developing the ride, the original submarine voyage attraction costed over $600,000 for the company. Additionally, the organ that sat in the ride was originally used in the film itself. Of course, we're talking about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea here. And you may be asking, where did it go? Well, the answer to that question is it lives in the Haunted Mansion attraction after having been moved there in a 1998 closure. Body Wars was an educational ride located in Epcot's Wonders of Life Pavilion in its initial conception. Inspired by Disneyland's adventures through inner space, the attraction took guests on a 7-minute journey through the body, being struck down to the size of a cell, with the goal of removing a splinter. Guests would eventually get pulled into a flowing vein, sending them directly to the brain. The people from Control would then eventually find a way to use the power of the brain to assist in their escape. I know, it sounds tacky by today's standards. Anyway, eventually Star Tours came along, which was an attraction of the same ride system and stole guests from the dying ride. With declining crowds, Body Wars was eventually closed in 2007. The ride vehicle was then used to test new scenes for the 2011 reopening of Star Tours, and though unconfirmed, it is believed that the ride vehicle itself was moved to Star Tours in Disneyland Paris. Now, I mentioned in part 1 of the series, link in the description by the way, that Disney has always had a thing for space theme attractions. And so, the Tomorrowland Astrojets were created and preserved by the current Astro Orbiter. Designed by John Hench, the original Tomorrowland Astrojets had officially opened to the public in 1956. Though the attraction went through several name changes throughout its lifetime, the ride system largely remained the same, a futuristic Dumbo. You may have heard of them as the Tomorrowland Jets, the Rokit Jets, and even a few other names, some being official and some not so much. Anyway, 1998 came along and the Disneyland Tomorrowland was in desperate need of a complete refurbishment. Disney's answer? A steampunk-themed land with a perfect copy of the Orbitron from Disneyland Paris, now named the Astro Orbiter. By this point, the park's classic had been long gone, so Disney decided to give the concept another chance at life in Walt's original park.